created the heavens and the earth. So, we'll jump into our study. The Torah portion after Rosh Hashanah and Simchat Torah is Bereshit. We always start with the beginning, obviously. So we've always talked about Bereshit as, when we break that verse down, is the word over the house that has the authority to restore the heavens to the earth, to restore the realm of Elohim back to the realm of humankind. And we've looked at the word Bereshit often as we've discussed the mandate. You know, we remember the mandate that was delivered, that through the blood of Yahshua, a means would be made for the heavens to be restored. The realm of Elohim and the realm of humankind would come back together where they were supposed to be. So, in reading Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim va'et haaretz, in English, we leave out the aleph and the tav. We leave out the et. And we say, well, it's a Hebrew pointer. We would actually read, if we put that et in there, we would read, in the beginning Elohim created through the aleph and the tav the heavens and the earth. Like I said, we've considered Bereshit a number of times, that the enlarged beit in Bereshit is alluded to being covered by the letter Pei. And we've said that the idea that we have here is that it's the word over the house. Now, we've said that the word over the house has authority by the truth, power, and the humility of Elohim to be the vehicle of sacrifice, to restore a covenant. We say the covenant is the covenant that was lost between Elohim and humankind. It's not to restore the Sinai covenant. Why would we want to restore the covenant of Sinai and be back under the Levitical system? We want to restore our relationship to Elohim. In this we see Yahshua as both Mashiach in the word bara, which I didn't write up here, but we have the word bara as well, that is bara. We see Mashiach in that the Word became flesh and tabernacled among us, that he is the authority of the house of Yahweh. Okay? That the Word over the house that has this authority to become the vehicle of sacrifice says through the Word everything was created, and without the Word nothing was created, that this Word, in the word bara, which means created, that the Word has the authority of Yahweh Elohim in the house, or the authority of Yahweh Elohim in his house. So we also see this in bara if we were to break this in two. And this is old stuff. We've talked about this a number of times, but it's relevant for our understanding that if we break this in half, we have an Aramaic word bar, which means son. We have a bar mitzvah. We don't very often see a ben mitzvah. So bar mitzvah. And then the aleph, again, is a representation of Elohim. The first time we see Elohim is the root of a word in Torah, is in the next word, which is Elohim. Bereshit bara Elohim. So, but the word over the house has the authority. And we look at Hebrews chapter 3, verse 6, to see what it was that Rav Shaul, Paul, was talking about. It says, but Mashiach as a son over his house. Okay, the word over the house has the authority. But Mashiach as the son over his house, of whose house we are. We are part of that house if we hold fast the confidence and rejoicing of the hope firm and unto the end. Where do we find the rejoicing in the hope? Where do we find our hope? In Elohim. We find it within his instruction, within his Torah. And we also find it within, here's a new word that we'll probably hear throughout the year. We find it in his Bazorah. His Bazorah, we call them the Gospels. Bazorah is an Aramaic word that means the message of Yahshua the Netzarim. Bezorah, B-E-S-O-R-A-H.
And it's what?
B-E.
Right, I got that.
Bezorah, B-E-S-O-R-A-H. Bezorah.
And it means what?
Huh? Bezorah, it means the message. And if it's the message of Yahshua the Netzarim, the branch. All right? We say, we studied this not too long ago. We always say the Nazarene because he came from Nazareth. But in actuality, he's called the Netzarim because he's fulfilling the prophecy. He's called the branch. He is the branch of Elohim. He is the vine, and we are the branches. So, people say, well, what are you? I say, well, I'm not a Christian, I'm not a Jew, I'm Netzarim. I'm a follower of the branch. I'm what comes off the vine that's fed by the root, which is the Torah. So, there's much more meaning, though, found in this word Bereshit than what we've studied so far. If we consider that Yeshua as both let's go on down to the next paragraph here. See, I bought this really nice podium, and I straightened it up, and I stained it, and it's beautiful, and then I put it up against the wall because I was going to bring it, so I'd have this nice podium.
He brought it into my house.
And I put it in the house against, and I put the Torah on top of it, and Trina says, "My, that looks nice there." So happy wife, happy life. I gotta go find another podium.
I told you that I will donate. You don't put that on me.
So one of these days I'll have a podium that I can just actually glance over. So anyway, the word for authority that's found within Bereshit is in the word resh. This word right here, and it's the first time that we see the letter resh as the root of a word in Torah. Is in this word resh, that it means beginning, but more specifically it means authority, it means headship. Okay? So the word over the house holds authority, but resh also means wisdom. Wisdom. We have a word in Hebrew that means half a dozen different things. And one of the other things that resh means is wisdom. So the word over the house has the wisdom of the truth of the covenant. We said Yod, the smallest letter in the Aleph Beit, that it represents truth, and that when the pen touches the paper, we say the Yod is formed, and we draw out a letter. In this case, we've drawn a beautiful Vav. That's the middle part, and then when the pen leaves the paper, we say the Yod is complete. It's the first and the last mark of every letter that comprises the middle. And if we think about that, then we think about the first letter, one of the two middle letters, and the last letter spells emet, which means truth in Hebrew. So Yod represents the truth. And then we've said that the Tav represents, among other things, the mark of the covenant. So what is the wisdom, or where do we find the wisdom about the truth of the covenant? Where do we find this? Anybody? In Torah. In Torah. So what do we have here? What we find is that Yahweh Elohim didn't just prepare a means of redemption, deliverance, and restoration in the beginning through Yahshua. We say that this Bereshit 1:1 is a mandate that tells us that through Yahshua he would be the vehicle of sacrifice to restore a covenant, that we would restore Chashamayim Vayet Haaretz down here, that he would restore, reattach the heavens to the earth, the realm of Elohim to humankind. But we also find that Yahweh Elohim also, in the beginning, prepared the Torah, so that we would have a step-by-step instruction book as to how to walk with him and how to walk with him in truth.
So in this case, definition of truth.
The definition of truth. The definition of truth is that we can't take a scripture out of something that Paul said and stand on just that one verse. We have to be able to confirm that one verse in the beginning. We see that, but Mashiach as the son over his own house, of whose house we are, if we hold fast in confidence and rejoicing of hope unto the end. Where do we find this idea of Mashiach as a son over his house? Well, we can confirm that back in Bereshit if we understand what it all means. We can confirm that there. There are numerous verses throughout Torah in Tanakh that also confirm this. So truth is you have to have the beginning, you have to have the middle, and you have to have the end. We can't take a single verse out of anything and say this is the truth without being able to confirm it all the way across. That answer your question? Good. Good. So, we have the truth. But what else do we need? Say Yahshua said, it's Yochanan, which is John 4:23 and 24, he said, he was talking to the Samaritan woman, when he told her, you worship what you don't understand. He said, redemption, deliverance, restoration comes from the Yehudim. And then he went on to say, but the hour comes and now is when true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father seeks such to worship him. Elohim is spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. So we say, okay, we have Torah, we have truth, we have the physical part. How do we adjust for the spiritual part? I'm a flesh and blood being. How do I worship in spirit? So our Torah portion, we have to understand that we have to connect spiritually, even though we are flesh and blood. So we're going to take a look at Bereshit 2:4. And we're going to take a look at something that's kind of interesting in a verse that we would otherwise just skim over. We read this in English, it's a history lesson, and we just breeze by it. But listen very carefully, and you have it in your Torah as well. If you can look at the Hebrew in this as well, that it says, these are the generations of the heavens and of the earth when they were created, in the day that Yahweh Elohim made earth and heaven. What is strange about this verse? We say in Bereshit 1:1 that in the beginning Elohim created the heavens and the earth. The first part of this verse says, these are the generations of the heavens and the earth when they were created. But then it says, in the day that Yahweh Elohim made earth and heaven. Something is backwards in this verse. Why? So let's consider first the word for generations, which is toledot, that means generations, but it also means the results of. It means the results. And it also means the bringing forth of something. This word toledot also means or refers to a family unit. Okay? So it means the results of something. It means the bringing forth of something, but it also means a family unit. Okay? So we might then read that these are the results of a family brought forth by the heavens and the earth. These are the results of a family brought forth by the heavens and the earth. Okay, well, what does that mean? It still doesn't make any sense. The realm of Elohim and the realm of humankind were created to be united. They were created to be together. Okay? Let's consider Isaiah 46:13. Now we can read the entire chapter of Isaiah 46, and it's going to basically tell us how to go about doing this and the blessings of this particular verse we're about to read. But Isaiah 46:13 says, "Yes, my hand has laid the foundations of the earth." So let's stop right there for a second. Go to Bereshit 2 and verse 7. That says what? Which says that then Yahweh Elohim formed man out of the dust of the ground. He formed him. He took time to actually form humankind. In Bereshit 1, in chapter 1, we read that he spoke forth. He said, "Let us make humankind in our image." And then he spoke it forth and humankind came to be. But Adam, the Adam, he took time to physically form. Okay? We get an idea of he is the master potter that forms a vessel. And we read this also throughout Tanakh. And when we get to Brit Hadashah, and we read it out of the Aramaic correctly translated, says that Yahshua went to Bethany. Bethany means a house of dates, palm dates, or a house of misery. Okay? Palm dates represents blessings. So it's the house of blessings or the house of misery. But he went to Simon the potter. Okay? The difference between Garba, which means leper, and Garaba, that means potter. Same consonants. If you move the vowels the wrong way, you get a misrepresentation. He said it couldn't be a leper because in Leviticus, he couldn't go to the house of a leper because a leper couldn't own a house, couldn't own property. He says, well, it was one of the lepers that he healed. Well, the Leviticus says if you're healed of leprosy, you cannot be called a leper anymore. Why would he go to the potter's house? Because we see a representation of if we become unclean. In Leviticus, in Vayikra, it says that that vessel has to be broken and replaced with a new vessel. Why do we go to the potter's house? If we are in misery, if we are broken, we go there to receive the blessings of redemption, deliverance from whatever it is that's broken us, and restoration, that we are made new. What do we learn about the potter? That he takes the clay that's been marred and he makes a vessel out of it. So, yes, my hand has laid the foundation of the earth, and my right hand has spread out the heavens. Now, when I call unto them, who is them? It's the heavens and the earth. When I call out to them, they stand up together. Okay? His hand and his right hand brought us forth into being and cover us in his splendor. When Elohim calls, however, they stand up together, which is a phrase we have in which we find a new word that we haven't considered before. We've always looked at echad, echad meaning one. But now, together is the word yachedav that comes from yechad, that means a union. It means to be joined together as one. And within this word yachedav is a word for they. And they refers to the heavens and the earth that are joined together. They are yechad. The word for stand is yamedu, from the root amed, that means not only to stand, but it also means to endure and to become strong.